Hi guys, EV Guy here. Welcome to a new episode. Today I will do a grass type Nuzlocke challenge. If you didn't see the last episodes, go check it out. This is going to be a special kind of monologue that I'll try to do. Each generation divided by episodes. So welcome to episode 5 of my grass type Nuzlocke. And today I will try to beat Pokemon White using only Gen 5 grass type Pokemon. And since this game only has Gen 5 Pokemon, I can't rely on past generations that actually survived in the last episodes. So we only have this Pokemon to work with. The rules will be in the description, but in short, if a Pokemon faints, is dead and must be boxed or released. And I can only catch the first grass type, or that will become a grass type Pokemon in each route. Grass types are only strong against rock, ground and water types. And they are weak against 5 types, those being fire, ice, poison, flying and bug types. So let's see if I can beat the grass type Nuzlocke on Pokemon White. But first, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you will appreciate, and now we can actually start. So we start in Ovema Town and our starter will be of course Snivy. And then of course we have a battle with Bianca and Sharon, which I defeat very easily with some tackles. After we meet the professor, I named my starter as Leaf Snake. Then we arrive to Akamula Town and we face this character named N, which I defeat very easily as well. Then we face Bianca and even on low health I managed to defeat her very easily. Then I get to Striation City, where the first gym is, but first I still need to face Sharon. Yes, he has the fire type Tepig, which is stronger than Leaf Snake, but with a level advantage and a Leer to lower its defense, I managed to defeat Tepig very easily, and his Purloin as well. And we get some Oran Berries from him, which I will need for the first gym, because this gym it's a problem, because it has the type advantage against your starter, which means if I choose a grass type I will face a fire type Pokemon, so my opponent in this gym will be Chili. He starts with Lillipup and I send the only Pokemon I have, Leaf Snake. So I go for Growth, while Lillipup goes for Bite. I manage to put 4 Growth before our Oran Berry heals a little HP, then I defeat Lillipup with 2 tackles. Next is Pansear, which goes first with Work Up, and I go for a tackle that leaves it on half. Then on the next turn Pansear goes for Incinerate, which leaves Leaf Snake on 1 HP. And then another tackle puts Pansear down, winning us the fight and the first badge. Damn, that was too close for comfort. Then we have to go to the Dream Yard to save this Pokemon from Team Plasma, and we beat them very easily, fortunately. After a while, Leaf Snake finally evolves into Servine, so we have a little more power now. And then of course I had a fight with Sharon, which was easy because I was with higher level. I made for that to happen, of course. Then we have to defeat some more grunts from Team Plasma, not a big deal. We get to Nacrene City and we get the Miracle Seed first, then we have to face N, which is also very easily, so it's time to go to the gym and face Lenora, the normal type gym leader. She starts with Urdeer, so I go for Leaf Tornado, which leaves Urdeer on the red, while Urdeer goes for Takedown. Next I go for Tackle, but of course Lenora heals Urdeer with a Super Potion. And this time we make a little less damage, but thanks to the accuracy drops from Leaf Tornado, Urdeer misses its attacks, so eventually Urdeer goes down. Last is Watchog. I go for Leaf Tornado, which crits and takes more than half of Watchog health. Then of course Watchog misses a Hypnosis, even though it wouldn't work because I give a Chesto Berry to Leaf Snake. And that's good, because that way I don't spend any berry. So a last Leaf Tornado and Watchog goes down, winning us the fight and the second badge. Wow, I wasn't expecting that the second gym would be this easy. Nice. Then of course we have to deal with some more Team Plasma shenanigans. Of course on the way in Pinwell Forest we can finally get our next encounter, a Swaddle, which I catch it and I name it Silk. And of course after we get the Skull back for Lenora, we found another Miracle Seed and also the Quick Claw. Then we go through this bridge just to enjoy the view. Then we arrive to Castelia City, go get a massage for Silk. I go get the Eviolite item. We deal with some more Team Plasma shenanigans, and then Silk evolve into Swallow. So it's time to face Berg, the Bug-type gym leader, a huge threat for my Grass-type team. But I have a plan. I just hope it works. It starts with Whirlipede and I go with Leaf Snake. I start to go for Leaf Tornado. I know it doesn't do that much, but at least it has some chance to lower its accuracy, and that's what I want. I just need to have some luck, and I actually do, because on the second accuracy drop, Whirlipede starts to miss its attacks, and that gives me the chance to lower its accuracy at 5 times. Then I start to go for Growth to raise my attack and special attack 4 times, and then take out Whirlipede with a Tackle. Next is the Weevil, which goes down with a single Mega Drain, thanks to those growth, and recovers some health as well. Last is Leveni, so I go for Tackle, then Leveni goes for String Shot. On the next turn, Leveni protects, then after that turn, Leveni goes for Struggle Bug, lowering our special attack, which is not a problem. Then another Tackle leaves it on the range for Berg to heal, but of course I take the chance while he heals to go for another Growth, and raise even more the attack of Leaf Snake. And I still go for another one after another Struggle Bug, so now I'm already on plus 6 attack when I go for Tackle, which leaves Leveni on half. Then Leveni goes again for Struggle Bug, which Leaf Snake survives on 9 HP, then another Tackle takes Leveni down, winning us the fight and the third badge. If it wasn't for that Eviolite that I give to Leaf Snake before the battle, it would never survive those attacks. I'm glad I remembered to get that item. Now getting out from the city, we have another battle with Bianca. She starts with her deer and I go with Leaf Snake. It was a little annoying because she was always healing, but eventually her deer goes down. Next is Muna, so I change for Silk, and a single Bug Bite puts Muna down. Next is Pansear, so I change back to Leaf Snake, which can take well an Incinerate. Then I go for Mega Drain to get some health back. Of course, Pansear next goes for Yawn, so on the next turn I attack with Tackle, and then Leaf Snake falls asleep. Fortunately, we don't stay sleeping for too long, and then we finish off Pansear. Last is Duot, but 2 Mega Drains takes it out, winning the fight. And then next we have another fight with Charon as well. It starts with Pidove and I go with Leaf Snake. I go for 3 growths, then 1 Tackle takes down Pidove. Next is Big Knight and 2 Tackles takes it down, but it still managed to leave Leaf Snake on 5 HP. So next is Pensage, so I change for Silk and then 1 Bug Bite takes down Pensage. Last is Liper and 2 Bug Bites takes it down, winning the fight. Then on Route 4 I grab the TM for Dig, just in case I catch a special encounter. On Desert Resort I catch my next encounter, a Maractus, which I name Sahara, because of Sahara Desert, and Maractus is in Desert Resort. Moving on. Then we arrive into Nibasa City and we have to face this Team Plasma Grunt, which wasn't a big deal, and then we buy some TMs here and then we get a Sunstone and also a Sooth Bell as well in this city too. Wow, Nimbasa City is full of treasures. Then we go with N for a ride, where he tells us that he is the leader of Team Plasma and then he wants to fight us. He starts with Sandile and I go with Silk, which unfortunately it wasn't my choice, so I change for Leaf Snakes, and I use Growth 6 times and then I shot every single of his Pokemon, winning the fight. Unfortunately Leaf Snake go to level 28, so I need to box it for now. And that sucks, because I wanted to use it on the next gym battle and now I can't. So I go to Lost Lorn Forest to see if I can catch at least a Pensage, but I end up finding a Petalil, which I named Lady Forest. Well, Lady Forest wasn't in my plans, but still I can work with it, I hope. I use the Sunstone to evolve Lady Forest into Lilligant, and then I go face Elisa, the electric type gym leader. Yes, grass types resist electric attacks. Unfortunately, Earth 2 Emolga are also flying type, which my grass types are weak to it, and they have Aerial Ace, a very strong flying type attack. And then her Zev Striker, also an electric type Pokemon, has a fire type move. So the gym that we are supposed to be resistant, we are weak to it. So that's a pain. But still, I have a plan. I just hope I can manage to put that plan in motion. She starts with her first Emolga and I go with Lady Forest. Emolga goes for Aerial Ace and I go for Sleep Powder, putting it to sleep. Then I go for Giga Drain to make some damage and recover some health as well. Then Emolga wakes up and uses another Aerial Ace, but another Giga Drain puts it down. Lady Forest goes to level 28 and learns Quiver Dance, which I needed, and this is why I left Lady Forest next to level up, because I needed this move to win this gym battle. So next is the second Emolga, so first I take another Aerial Ace, and then I use Sleep Powder to put this Emolga to sleep as well. Then I use 2 Quiver Dances to boost Lady Forest's special attack and defense and its speed as well, which means now we are faster than Emolga as well. Then I use Giga Drain to heal a little bit while Emolga wakes up, and uses another Aerial Ace, and fortunately Lady Forest hangs on just 3 HP. I was hoping that Elisa would heal, and she does, which gives me the opportunity to use another Sleep Powder to put Emolga back to sleep. Then while it sleeps, I go for another Quiver Dance, and then on the next turn Emolga goes down in one shot with Giga Drain, and healing Lady Forest until half. Last is Zeph Striker, and I go for a single Giga Drain to put down Zeph Striker to win the fight and the 4th badge. Not bad. I was scared that the plan could fail on those occasions that Lady Forest got on the red, but Lady Forest actually did a good job. Nice. Now that we win, we can put Leaf Snake back in our team. Then it's time for another battle with Cheren. He starts with Liepard and I go with Silk. Liepard goes for a priority fake out, but then I use Bug Bite, which leaves it on the red. Then Liepard goes for Torment, so on the next turn I use Return to take it down. Next is Tranquil, so I change for Lady Forest, which takes well an air counter. I go for Sleep Powder, then I go for 2 Quiver Dances. Of course Tranquil wakes, but on the next turn a single Giga Drain puts it Tranquil down. Next is Pignite, which I put to sleep with Sleep Powder. Then Pignite awakes and goes for Flame Charge. I put it back to sleep and then I take it down with 2 Giga Drains and healing Lady Forest back to full. Last is Pansage, but a single Magical Leaf puts it down and we win the fight. And Silk now loves me enough to evolve into Leveni. About time. And Elisa asks to lower the bridge, so now we have a clear path to Driftbell City, which actually has a nice theme song. I go here to the Pokemon Center, then I battle some trainers, battle some Plasma Grunts. Clay takes them away to let them go later. Are you serious, Clay? What was the point for all of this anyway? Well, at least we can go face him now. Clay is the gym leader here and is a ground type gym leader. He starts with Krokorok and I go with Silk and a single Razor Leaf takes it down. Next is Excadrill, so I go for 2 Razor Leafs, while Excadrill goes for a weak Earthquake. Then Excadrill goes as well for a Rock Slide, which flinch, which means I need to switch out now. I was actually hoping to take care of Excadrill before he could use that attack. I was wrong, but no worries, I just changed for Sahara, which takes another Rock Slide. Then I use a Giga Drain to heal Sahara and to take down Excadrill. Last is Palpitoad, which obviously goes down with a single Giga Drain, winning the fight and the 5th badge. Finally an easy gym. So next we have another fight with Bianca. She starts with her deer and I go with Lady Forest. I miss 3 Sleep Powders in a row, but the 4th connects and I put Erdeer to sleep. I go for 2 Quiver Dances before Erdeer wakes up. Then I put Erdeer back to sleep, then I use another Quiver Dance, then I go for Giga Drain to one-shot Erdeer. Next is Pansear, which also goes down in one shot with Giga Drain. Next is Musharna, which took 2 Magical Leaves to go down even when Bianca healed. Last is Dewott, which goes down with a single Magical Leaf, winning the fight. On Route 6 I catch another encounter, a Deerling, and I name it Sambi. And on Chargestone Cave I catch a Ferroseed, which I name Ironthorn. And we have another battle with N, but now the team he has was actually easy to beat him. Then I get to Mistralton City and I need to go to the tower where Skyla, the gym leader, is. She is a flying type gym leader, so the next gym will be very nice for us. Not. Before I get back to the city, I make sure to get my last encounter here on Route 7, a fungus, which I catch and I name it Spore. And after some training, Sambi evolved into Sosbok, and now it's time to face Skyla, the flying type gym leader. She's scary with her flying type, so I will need Lady Forest's help again. She starts with Suobat and I go with Lady Forest. First we tank an acrobatics, then I use Sleep Powder, then I use 2 Quiver Dances, then I use a Giga Drain, which leaves Suobat on the red. I know Skyla will heal, so I decide to use another Quiver Dance. Then on the next turn I use Giga Drain to take down Suobat. Next is Unpheasant, and I go for another Sleep Powder, which we miss. Fortunately, Unpheasant only goes for Leer, so on the next turn our Sleep Powder hits and Unpheasant goes for sleep. Then I use another Quiver Dance, and then we take down Unpheasant with Giga Drain. Last is Swanna, and I use Sleep Powder to put Swanna to sleep, and maybe we don't need it, but just in case I use a last Quiver Dance, and then I use Giga Drain to take down Swanna. And we win the fight and the 6th badge. Lady Forest, you are a beast. Then next we have another battle with Cherry. He starts with Unpheasant and I go with Lady Forest. I use Sleep Powder to put Unpheasant to sleep, then I use 2 Quiver Dances, then Lady Forest takes 1 Aerial Ace after I attack with Magical Leaf. Then I use Giga Drain to take down Unpheasant and recover some health. Next is Big Knight and I go for another Sleep Powder, and then I use another Quiver Dance. Then Big Knight wakes up and we miss a Sleep Powder, while Big Knight goes for takedown. And we miss another Sleep Powder. On the next turn we finally hit a Sleep Powder, and then I use another Quiver Dance, and now that we are +4 special attack, a Giga Drain is enough to one-shot Big Knight and recover to full our health. Next is Liepard, which goes down with a single Giga Drain, and last is Simasage, which goes down with 2 Magical Leaves, winning the fight. Passing the Twisted Mountain, Leaf Snake finally evolves into Serperior. And then we arrive in Isurus City and I decide to face Bryson, the Ice-type gym leader. Which is a threat to my team, but Ice types are weak against Steel and Fighting types, so let's see if I can win it. Bryson starts with Vanillish and I go with Sambi. I go for Jump Kick and Vanillish goes down in one shot. Next is Bertic and I go again with Jump Kick again, which makes more than half damage, and Bertic goes for Swagger, which makes Sambi confused. I don't want to risk it, so I change for Iron Thorn, which takes an Icicle Crash. Then I change for Leaf Snake, which also takes an Icicle Crash. Then I go for a Leaf Blade, and Bertic goes down. Last is Cryogonal, so I change back to Sambi, which takes a Frost Breath, and then Sambi takes down Cryogonal with a Jump Kick, winning the fight and the 7th badge. Phew, that was close. Then we go to the Dragon Spiral Tower, where actually Iron Thorns evolves into Ferrothorn. And we witness N with the legendary Dragon Reshiram. Then we go back to Isurus City, and we get the TM for Sludge Bomb. And then we have another battle with Bianca. She starts with Stoutland, and I go with Sambi. While Stoutland goes for Retaliate, I go for Jump Kick, which leaves Stoutland on the red. Then Bianca heals, while I go for Horn Leech. Stoutland goes for Work Up, while I go for another Horn Leech. Then on the next turn, Stoutland uses Roar to bring Leaf Snake. Bianca then heals against Stoutland, while our Slam misses. I go for Curl, while Stoutland goes for another Work Up. Then I go for Leaf Tornado, which lowers Stoutland's defense. Then Stoutland goes for another Work Up. Then I go for another Leaf Tornado, and Stoutland uses Roar again, this time to bring Sahara. I go then for a Needle Arm, which leaves Stoutland on the red. Then Stoutland uses Retaliate, and because of all of those work-ups, Sahara goes down. Since I got pissed, I bring Lady Forest to put it to sleep with Sleep Powder. Then I go for Quiver Dance and Stoutland wakes up to miss a Retaliate. I go for another Sleep Powder. Then on the next turn I misclick and I use again Sleep Powder, losing a turn. Since I didn't have other choice, I use Magical Leaf to take down this damn Stoutland. Next is Simisear, which I put it to sleep right away. Then I go for another Quiver Dance, then 2 Magical Leaves are enough to put Simisear down. Next is Samurott, which goes down with a single Magical Leaf. Last is Musharna, but 2 magical leaves takes it down, winning the fight. But I wasn't happy at all. Sahara was with us since Nimbasa City, and yes, it wasn't great, but at least helped us with clay. That's something. Rest in peace, Sahara. Bianca, you are not a good friend. I get to Appleseed City and I box Sahara and I bring Spore and evolve it into a Mungus. But battling the gym trainers, I end up overleveling 3 of my Pokemon. Damn. So that means we are going to face Iris, the Dragon-type gym leader, with only 3 Pokemon. She starts with Fracture and I go with Lady Forest, and I know all of her dragons are Dragon Tail, which forces you to switch, which means I can't boost my attacks like I did before in other gyms. Or can I? Well, I go first with Sleep Powder to put Fracture to sleep, then I go for Quiver Dance, then Fracture wakes up, but it only goes for Dragon Dance, so I put it back to sleep with Sleep Powder. Then I go for 2 more Quiver Dances before Fracture wakes up, but Fracture goes for another Dragon Dance. Since I'm on +3, I should be able to knock it out with Magical Leaf. But Fracture still survives on the red, but fortunately Fracture goes for another Dragon Dance. I know that Iris will heal, so I go for another Quiver Dance, and now we are in +4. Still I don't want to risk, so I put Fracture back to sleep. Then I go for another Quiver Dance to put Lady Forest on +5. Fracture still sleeping, so I go for another Quiver Dance, putting Lady Forest on +6. And Fracture still sleeps, so I go for Magical Leaf to take down Fracture in one shot. Next is Drydregon, and I don't want to risk, so I use Sleep Powder first, then a +6 Magical Leaf is not enough and Drydregon survives on the red. Damn, this thing is tough. Iris heals Drydregon, so I still have another chance, so after that I take down Drydregon with 2 Magical Leaves. Last is Axorus, so I go for Sleep Powder to put Axorus to sleep, then a Magical Leaf leaves Axorus on the red, and Axorus wakes up and uses Dragon Tail, forcing me to switch to Leaf Snake and losing all of those maximum stats. But it's not a problem because Leaf Snake is faster and takes the rest of Axorus health with Leaf Snake, winning the fight and the last patch. Phew! I can't believe that worked. Lady Forest is a savior and a beast. Then it's time to go to the Victory Road, but before that we need to face Charon for a last battle. It starts with Unpheasant, I go with Lady Forest, of course, I use Sleep Powder, then I use 3 Quiver Dances, then Unpheasant wakes up and uses Taunt, so now I don't have a choice but to attack with Giga Drain, leaving Unpheasant on the red. Then Unpheasant uses Air Slash, which Lady Forest takes very well, then on the next turn Unpheasant goes for Detect. But after that, Unpheasant goes down with another Giga Drain. Next is of course Emboar, and since the taunt is off now, I can now use Sleep Powder to put Emboar to sleep. Use another Quiver Dance, then Emboar wakes up to use a Flamethrower, making a lot of damage and burning Lady Forest in the process. Then I go for Sleep Powder again. Then, since I don't want to risk, I go for Giga Drain, taking most of Emboar's health and restoring some health of our own as well. On the next turn, I take down Emboar with another Giga Drain. Next is Liper, which goes down with a single Giga Drain. Last is Simisage, which goes down with the 2 Magical Leaves, winning the fight. After we get to the Pokemon League, I level up my team until 50, 51. I wanted to get to the same level as Ghetsis, which is 52 and 54. But at the last hour I decided to stay 51. I mean, it was already too late to change it, so yeah, you will notice my Pokemon on levels 50 and 51. It's because the level I chose was 54 from Ghetsis. And here we can face the Elite 4 on the order we want, so I decided to start first with Marshall, the fighting type specialist. He starts with Throw and I go with Leaf Snake. I go with 6 coils to boost our attack and defense. Of course, while I was doing that, Throw manages to lower Leaf Snake's speed with Bulldoze. But that's not a problem, after my boosts, a single Aerial Ace takes down Throw. Next is Mianxiao and uses a super effective U-turn on Leaf Snake and switch for Sock. Of course Sock has the ability Sturdy, so that means it will stay in the red, but Marshall will heal with full restore, so that means it's just a matter of time for Sock to go down. Next, Miansho comes back just to use another U-turn to make some damage and switch for Conkeldurr, which goes down right away with an aerial ace. So last is again Miansho, which uses again U-turn, but since the rest of Marshall's team is down, Miansho can switch, so a single aerial ace takes down Miansho, winning the fight. Next I go face Chantal, the ghost type specialist. She starts with Cofagrigus and I go with Lady Forest. I go with Sleep Powder first, putting Cofagrigus to sleep. I go for 2 Quiver Dances, then Cofagrigus wakes up to use Shadow Ball. I use another Sleep Powder, then I can use 3 more Quiver Dances before Cofagrigus wakes up again to use another Shadow Ball. Then I go for another Sleep Powder, then another Quiver Dance, but Cofagrigus wakes up right away to use Will-O-Wisp and burn Lady Forest. But no worries, now I just need to use a Giga Drain to put down Cofagrigus and healing Lady Forest almost back to full. Next is Chandelure, I was expecting that. I go for another Giga Drain, which leaves Chandelure on the red, then Chandelure actually goes for payback, which I don't mind, so after Chantal heals Chandelure, a Magical Leaf and another Giga Drain are enough to put Chandelure down. Next is Chalicent, which goes down with a single Giga Drain, and last is Golurk, which goes down with a single Magical Leaf, winning the fight. Next is Grimsley, the Dark type specialist. It starts with Scrafty and I go with Lady Forest. I use Sleep Powder first, then I change for Leaf Snake and then I use Coil. Scrafty wakes up to use Poison Jab, then I use Aerial Ace boosted with the Flying Gem, taking more than half, and Scrafty only goes for Sand Attack. I actually thought that Grimsley would heal Scrafty, so I go for another Coil, but it doesn't heal and Scrafty uses another Sand Attack. But fortunately we have Aerial Ace, so on the next turn, Scrafty goes down. Next is B-Sharp, and I use an Aerial Ace first, and we take a next Scissor. Then on the next turn we take another one, and then I use Dragon Tail for a little damage and to bring out Crocodile. Then I change for Sambi, we take a Foul Play, then on the next turn I single Energy Ball is enough to put down Crocodile. Next is B-Sharp again, but now we are in a good position to use Double Kick and take down B-Sharp. Last is Liepard, which goes first for Fake Out, but on the next turn it goes down with a single Double Kick, winning the fight. Next is Caitlyn, the Psychic type specialist. She starts with Reunicles and I go with Lady Forest. I go for Sleep Powder, of course, then I use 2 Quiver Dances, then Reunicles wakes up and uses Psychic. And we miss the Sleep Powder, which gives the opportunity for Reunicles to use another Psychic. Then on the next turn we hit the Sleep Powder, then I use another Quiver Dance, and Reunicles wakes up again and uses another Psychic, leaving Lady Forest on the red. So this time I use a Giga Drain to put down Reunicles and heal him almost back to full. Next is Sigilyph and I put it to sleep too, then I use another Quiver Dance and Sigilyph wakes up. Using Aerial Ace, then I use Giga Drain again, leaving Sigilyph on the red while Sigilyph goes for another Aerial Ace. Then thanks to Caitlyn healing Sigilyph, we can also get our health back and then take down Sigilyph with a Magical Leaf. Next is Musharna, which goes down with 2 Magical Leaves. Last is Gothitelle, but also goes down with 2 Magical Leaves, winning the fight. Now that we finished with the Elite Four, it's time to face our biggest challenge yet. And I was very scared for what was coming after we see Reshiram breaking the wall to get to N. And then Zekrom emerging from the sphere, we catch the legendary with a Master Ball, and then we face N. He starts with the legendary Reshiram and I go with Lady Forest. But of course it's not to stay here, because if I want to win this, I need Lady Forest alive. So I change for Spore, and then Reshiram takes Spore down with a Fusion Flare. Next I send Silk to go down as well with another Fusion Flare. Next I send Iron Thorn to go down as well with another Fusion Flare. Next I send Sambi to also go down with the Fusion Flare. And next I send Leaf Snake to also go down with another Fusion Flare. And now that Reshiram is out of Fusion Flares, I go with Lady Forest. Reshiram goes for Reflect and I go with Sleep Powder, and you already know how this goes. I go for Quiver Dances, Reshiram sometimes wakes, but I put it back to sleep until I finally get 6 Quiver Dances. Then I start to use Giga Drain to heal Lady Forest and to make some damage to Reshiram. Reshiram of course sometimes still awakes, so I need to use some sleep powders again. Also when N heals Reshiram, I need to put it back to sleep again. And this took a lot of time, but eventually I managed to take down the legendary. Next is Vanilux, and just in case I use a sleep powder, then actually a single Giga Drain took it out. Next is Klinklang, which I'm sure it's Zoroark with its illusion ability, because Zoroark has flamethrower. So I risk it and I go with Magical Leaf, and indeed was Zoroark, which goes down right away. Next is the real Klinklang, so I put it to sleep, then I use 2 Magical Leaves to take it down. Next is Archeops, which goes down with a single Magical Leaf. Last is Caracosta, so I use Magical Leaf, but still survives because of its sturdy ability. But Caracosta misses a Stone Edge, so another Magical Leaf takes it down, winning the fight. But now we still need to face Ghetsis with only Lady Forest. It starts with Cofagrigus, so I use right away Sleep Powder. I go then with 3 Quiver Dances, then Cofagrigus wakes up and uses Protect, while I'm using my 3rd Quiver Dance. So on the next turn I can put it back to sleep. Then I use 3 last Quiver Dances, then Cofagrigus wakes up and uses Toxic. But I was prepared for that with a Petra Berry, which heals the poison. Then a single Giga Drain takes down Cofagrigus. Next is Hydreigon, and then I go for Giga Drain, taking more than half. Then Hydreigon goes for Fire Blast, which doesn't take too much health, fortunately. Then another Giga Drain takes Hydreigon down. Next is Seismitoad, which goes down with a single Giga Drain. Next is Electros, which also goes down with a single Giga Drain. Next is Bufflant, so I use Magical Leaf, which leaves Bufflant on the red. Then Bufflant goes for Head Smash, making a lot of damage to Lady Forest, but going down with a recoil. Last is B-Sharp, so I go for Sleep Powder, then I use Giga Drain, leaving B-Sharp on the red. B-Sharp wakes up, but misses a Stone Age, fortunately, so Ghetsis heals B-Sharp, but I use another Giga Drain, then a Magical Leaf to take down B-Sharp, and we win the fight. Damn, these fights were really hard. If Lady Forest had missed any single attack, I'm not sure I could have passed this. I still didn't like to sacrifice most of my team to win this, but at least I didn't make their sacrifice go in vain. What is still hard for me is that the challenge still not done. Nope, I still need to face the champion, and of course to get there, I need to face the Elite Four again. But to do that, I will try to find a new team to fight alongside with Lady Forest. And now that we've finally finished the main story, we can get access to more Pokemon. So let's go look for them. On Route 18 I catch an Execute. Welcome back, Palm Tree. Then I go to Giant Chance to catch a Ditto. No, not for me. It's because on Route 15 an NPC can trade a Ditto for a Rotom. Then I go to Route 9 to this house, where I can change the form of the Rotom and also its type, turning into a Grass type. Then on White Forest I can have 3 encounters here. But of course I decide to get a low type. Welcome back, Waterleaf. Then I go get this Waterstone. And unfortunately these are the only encounters I can have. So after some level ups, Waterleaf evolves into Lombre, then I give the Waterstone to it to evolve it into Ludicolo. Then after Palm Tree learns the moves that I wanted, I decide to give the Leaf Stone to evolve it into Executor. So after that I go face the Elite Four again, and first I go for Marshall, the fighting type specialist. He starts with Breloom and I go with Palm Tree. With the Quick Claw that I give to Palm Tree is able to go first and land a Sleep Powder, and then with the Psychic, Breloom goes down. Next is Mianshao and it goes for a priority Fake Out, then an Acrobatics that leaves Palm Tree on 11 HP. Then we land another Sleep Powder, then I change for Lady Forest and I use 3 Quiver Dances first, then Mianshao wakes up and misses an high jump kick, which makes half damage to itself, so I use a Magical Leaf to take down Mianshao. Next is Sock, which I use Sleep Powder again, then I go for my last 3 Quiver Dances, then Sock wakes up while I use Magical Leaf. Sock then goes for a Retaliate, leaving Lady Forest on the red, Then Marshall heals, but I use a Giga Drain to take Sock down. Next is Toxic Rogue, which I take down with 2 Giga Drains. Next is Throw, which I take it down with a Giga Drain. Last is Conkeldurr, which I take it down with a Magical Leaf, winning the fight. Next is Chantal, the Ghost type specialist. She starts with Cofagrigus and I go with Lady Forest. I go for Sleep Powder first, then I use 4 Quiver Dancers, then I take down Cofagrigus with Giga Drain. Next is Frostlass, which goes for priority Ice Shard, making a lot of damage, but Lady Forest survives and takes down Frostlass with a Giga Drain, and getting the health back to full. Next is Chandelure, and since I was scared of it, I put it to sleep, then I attack with Magical Leaf. Of course Chandelure wakes up and lands a Fire Blast, making a lot of damage, but since Chantal will heal, I use Sleep Powder again, and then Giga Drain to take it out. Next is Jellicent, and a single Giga Drain takes it out. Next is Driftblim, so I change for Rotom, then I use a Discharge, leaving Driftblim on the red, and paralyze it. So another Discharge takes it down. So last is Golurk, but I use a Leaf Storm to take it down in one shot, winning the fight. Next is Caitlyn, the Psychic type specialist. She starts with Musharna and I go with Lady Forest, and of course I start the Sleep Powder and the Quiver Dance shenanigans. Of course Musharna still wakes up and lands an Hypnosis, but after Lady Forest wakes up, I take it down with Magical Leaf. Next is Sigilyph, so I use Giga Drain and Magical Leaf to take it down. Next is Metagross, which makes a lot of damage with Giga Impact, because I missed the Sleep Powder. But then on the next turn I put it to sleep, then I take it down with Giga Drain. Next is Reuniclus, and I put it to sleep, but it wasn't needed because a single Giga Drain took it down. Next is Bronzong, I use Sleep Powder, then 2 Magical Leaves to take it down. Last is Gothitelle, and a single Magical Leaf takes it down, winning the fight. Next is Grimsly, the Dark type specialist. It starts with Sharpedo and I go with Lady Forest for the usual, Sleep Powder, then 3 Quiver Dances, and then a Giga Drain to take Sharpedo down. Next is Scrafty, I use Sleep Powder and then I go for 2 more Quiver Dances, then Scrafty wakes up and uses Poison Jab, making a lot of damage, so I use another Sleep Powder, then I take it down with Giga Drain. Next is B-Sharp, I go for Giga Drain and B-Sharp goes for X-Scissor, but then Grimsly heals it, so that gives me the opportunity to use another Giga Drain, then a Magical Leaf to take down B-Sharp. Next is Drapion, which I put it to sleep, then I use my last Quiver Dance, then I take it down with Giga Drain. Next is Liepard, which goes for a priority Fake Out, then a Sucker Punch, but then a single Magical Leaf takes it down. Last is Crocodile, which goes down with a single Giga Drain, winning the fight. And now it's finally time to face the champion Alder, and I'm scared of this guy. All of his team is a menace to grass types. He starts with Excelgor, a bug type, and I go with Lady Forest. The Quick Claw that I give to Lady Forest lets me move first, so I manage to use Sleep Powder on Excelgor. I use 3 Quiver Dances, then Excelgor wakes up and lands a Bug Buzz, making a lot of damage. I decided to go for Giga Drain, which makes a lot of damage thanks to those Quiver Dances. Then I put it back to sleep, and I use another Quiver Dances, and then another Giga Drain to put it down. Next is Volcarona, an even more threat than Excelgor. I put it to sleep, then I use my last Quiver Dance, then of course Volcarona wakes up and uses Overheat, where Lady Forest survives on 5 HP. Then I put Volcarona back to sleep, and I use Giga Drains. Of course Alder at some point heals Volcarona, then a Giga Drain crits, making more than half to Volcarona. Volcarona continues to sleep, so 2 more Giga Drains takes it down. Next is Bouffalant, and this thing has Sap Sipper, which means if I attack it with a grass type move, it will absorb the attack and increase its attack stats. So that's why I teach Return to Lady Forest, which I use for a pitiful damage. Then a Mega Horn takes down Lady Forest. Rest in peace, my fairy of the forest. So I send next Water Leaf, and I use Surf for a little more damage, before Bouffalant takes down Water Leaf with Mega Horn. I send next Rotom, and I use Discharge, leaving Bouffalant almost on the red, and we paralyze it. but unfortunately Bouffalant still attacks and takes down also Rotom. I send my last Pokemon, Palm Tree, and I use Sludge Bomb, finally taking down Bouffalant. But next comes another Bug type, and also a Steel type, Excavalier. At this time I was already giving up, so I decide to use Psychic for some pitiful damage, then Excavalier takes down Palm Tree with the next season. So yeah, I lost this run. It was a 50% chance to hit a Sleep Powder and also a Leaf Storm. Sludge Bomb will never affect it because of its Steel type, so I was actually hoping for a critical hit Psychic, which of course we didn't get it, but that doesn't mean that we would actually win. So yeah. But I'm still proud of myself to get this far. I wasn't expecting that I would manage to pass by N or even Ghetsis. And we still even managed to defeat the Elite Four for a second time. So for me this challenge was a win, no matter the outcome. Besides, it made me change my mind about Lilligant. I actually never used Lilligant, so I never thought it was such a good Pokemon. And as you saw it, I rely a lot on Lilligant in this run. But of course I was not gonna be lucky forever, so I hope you enjoyed this video. To be fair, most of it I didn't enjoy at all. This run really stressed me out a lot because of all the difficulties that I had to face. But if you did enjoy seeing me suffer, put a like on that video and subscribe to my channel if you will appreciate, and I hope I see you on the next video. Peace!